Every time I think that I have known enough about Jehovah's Witnesses and that nothing will shock me anymore, something comes up and I get shocked again. So I have just concluded that the shocks from the Jehovah's Witnesses sect are infinite. I have accepted that I will continue to get shocked. And today I'm going to discuss another shocking experience or knowledge I've acquired about Jehovah's Witnesses. And that is why governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses don't want their members to get university degrees. Now here is a clip of one governing body member speaking about why they don't want their members to have university degrees.
If we are in continued association with those who do not believe the same, it can erode our thinking and convictions. I have long said, the better the university, the greater the danger. The most intelligent and eloquent professors will be trying to reshape the thinking of your child, and their influence can be tremendous.
Now, what I will do is that I'll give you the official version of the reason why the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses don't want their members to get university degrees. And then I'll give you the real reason before I end this video. So let's jump in right away. Now, for many people like me coming from a poor family, education is the only way to success. But for Jehovah's Witnesses, that same path is looked at in a totally different way. It is seen as a very, very dangerous path for a member of the Jehovah's Witnesses to take. It is something that will take you away or pull you away from a very important task. The question, but why? Why would the organization not want its members to pursue university degrees and develop professionally or achieve self-actualization? Because the more somebody gets educated, the more they advance in their career, the more the opportunities to be able to live a better life for themselves and for their posterity or their children. Why would the organization not want its members to pursue a college degree? Today we are diving into why Jehovah's Witnesses often discourage higher education. Whether you've heard this from friends, family, or just curious about their stance, we are going to uncover the reasoning behind it, both from their perspective and what some critics have to say. So let's get into it. Foundation of their beliefs. To understand why Jehovah's Witnesses don't encourage higher education, you have to first understand their worldview. Jehovah's Witnesses believe that we are living in the last days, a period leading to the end of this system of things. So their focus, preparing for God's kingdom. And they've been singing about the last days since the organization was formed in 1872. 1874, they say Jesus has begun the invisible rule in heaven. It didn't happen, no evidence for that. 1914, they say Jesus will begin the physical rule here on earth. 1925, they predicted the end is coming, and it will start with the resurrection of the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. In the 40s, they claimed Armageddon will start before the end of the World War II. The World War II ended, nothing happened. Then they set their eyes on 1975, where they said the world is coming to an end, and members made life changes, selling houses and businesses and stopping work. It didn't happen. Then they changed and said the generation of the 1914 will not pass away. Without the threat of the end of the world, it would mean removing wind out of the sails. Matthew 24:14 says, and this good news of the kingdom will be preached in all the inhabited earth. Their mission is to spread the message, help people live by Bible principles, and prepare for the new world under God's rule. This focus on spiritual priorities leaves little room for those they see as distractions, like a 4-year degree. So for them, their focus is the world is coming to an end, and because they have to prioritize preaching the good news of the kingdom and teach people the Bible principles. Anything else that distracts them from such a thing, like pursuing a 4-year degree, is totally discouraged. But what does the organization actually say about pursuing a university degree? The Watchtower magazine, the Jehovah's Witnesses' main publication, is very, very clear about obtaining university degrees. But why? Their leadership believes university degrees are filled with worldly influences, secular thinking, materialism, and dangerous moral trends. They argue that universities or college can expose you to ideas that challenge your faith, atheism, evolution, and even just the stress of maintaining religious values in a secular world. For Jehovah's Witnesses, that's risk not worth taking. The explanation they have is that colleges or universities can actually expose you to things that actually can challenge your faith and can make you to lose your faith. Therefore, for Jehovah's Witnesses, a university degree is too much a risk to take. The other thing is that they claim that getting a university degree is morality and faith at risk. Let's be real. For many, college is more than just textbooks and lectures. It's about new experiences, parties, relationships, exposure to different ideas. And for Jehovah's Witnesses, this is where things get dangerous. Many things take place at universities when young people go to the universities. It's a time they want to experience something new. They want to have parties. They want to have sex and experience every kind of thing that they've not experienced outside the watchful eyes of their parents. Or is it the watchful eyes of the governing body? They're exposed to different beliefs, experiences, relationships, and many such things that are considered to be dangerous. And for Jehovah's Witnesses, this is where things get dangerous. They believe universities create an environment that can easily lead to moral compromises, drugs, premarital sex, or unhealthy relationships. All things Jehovah's Witnesses strive to avoid. And beyond moral dangers, there is the concern that you could be influenced by philosophies that take you away from faith. Imagine sitting in a class being told that religion is outdated or that there's no need for God. I remember my experience at the university. I was a young believer, and as I was in a lecture room, and I remember this lecturer vividly teaching us in a lecture theater that there are no demons. What actually happens is psychoanalysis. And he explained the concept of psychoanalysis, and I'd never even heard of it. And my faith crashed. If they say there are no demons, he was actually indirect saying God does not exist, because you cannot have one without the other. And I lost my faith, and I struggled for some time. I remember sitting on the desk in my room, and this thought passed through my mind like lightning. A verse that I did not even know, because at that point, I was less than a year in the Lord. And the verse said, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth? And after that, I went to see one of our leaders of the youth fellowship. When I explained to him what the lecturer said, he said, maybe that lecturer, even his wife, is demon-possessed. And combined with the revelation I got and what the leader said, I regained my faith. Now, I understand what Jehovah's Witnesses are talking about in terms of the dangers of the university. The other thing that kept me, that made me to remain a Christian and came out at the end of 4 years a stronger Christian than I was, and 4 years older in the Lord, was the experience that I had. I always referred to the experience that I had on 20th December 1987, when I gave my life to Christ and my life got transformed. This is not fiction. My life surprisingly got transformed. The passion to read the Bible developed, and I've continued to read the Bible for the last 37 years. So truly, I understand what the governing body is concerned about. Jehovah's Witnesses, and particularly the governing body, are actually concerned about full-time ministry. Now let's listen to a clip from one of the leaders, probably a member of the governing body, encouraging members and boasting about making a right decision, not to go to the university, but to pursue ministry whilst very young.
What a blessing and a protection it was to enter the regular pioneer work at age 17 and to be able to go to Bethel at 18. Even though there was considerable worldly pressure put on me to pursue university education, I am so happy that with Jehovah's help, I decided to build my future with Jehovah.
Instead of higher education, Jehovah's Witnesses encourage young members to focus on something they believe is far more important, the ministry.
It requires faith to decline higher education and have the confidence that our material needs will be cared for by training in other fields.
Whether as a regular pioneer or even working at their headquarters, the message is clear. Devote your time to spreading God's word, not chasing after degrees or higher paying careers. 1 Timothy 6 verse 9 says, those who desire to be rich shall fall into temptation. From their viewpoint, higher education actually will lead you astray, will lead you away from ministry, something that you are supposed to be totally focused on. Higher education often leads to careers, and that demands time, more stress, and more focus on money. And in their eyes, those things pull you away from spiritual goals. Many people who are educated, who were really committed even in my faith when they were young, to universities and colleges, today they are working, they have higher positions, and yet they have lost the commitment to God. Every time they are saying they are busy. Of course, that can be a justification. But why is it that there are others who are more committed than even these people, and yet they are still committed to their spiritual causes? They are committed to ministry. What is the practical alternative for Jehovah's Witnesses? Vocational training. That doesn't mean Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in any form of education. Many are encouraged to pursue vocational training, practical jobs that allow them to support themselves and their families while still leaving plenty of time for ministry. Let's listen to one of the Jehovah's Witnesses' comment about the importance of vocational training.
We need construction skills around the world right now. We will not need doctors or lawyers after Armageddon, but we will need carpenters and plumbers and similar construction trades.
It's a balance, finding work that doesn't interfere with your faith, but it still makes a living.
That makes me think of the comments of a well-adjusted teenage brother whom we served while in the circuit work many years ago. This young brother went straight into the regular pioneer work out of high school, but he knew that he could go into the pioneer work and build a close relationship with Jehovah, and perhaps even find an honest-hearted person and be able to teach that one the truth, and he knew that would last forever.
Let's look at the argument of financial independence versus spiritual life. Another side to this argument, many critics of Jehovah's Witnesses say or argue that not having a university degree actually limits members' opportunity for financial independence. Without a university degree, many Jehovah's Witnesses miss out on high-paying jobs and long-term career stability. Some former members feel that discouraging education is a form of control and a way of limiting exposure to critical thinking and outside influence. They argue that higher education can broaden one's perspective and still coexist in faith. Here's the real truth of why Jehovah's Witnesses actually discourage higher education. The fear is that when somebody gets higher education, specifically a university degree, they broaden their mind. So they fear that their members will have a broadened mind. And with a broadened mind comes critical thinking. So the governing body is afraid of the challenge. A lot of the thinking that they present requires you to have a dumb mind to actually be able to believe what they say. They want members who actually drink everything that they are taught. They don't want members who question the things that they teach, who have a critical thinking. And that is what is at the center of discouraging higher education. All these other things they explain, though they may be true or they may have some truth in them, the real reason is control. Because as you go through the university education, inadvertently, you develop critical thinking skills. Without even you knowing, the mind is developed. I read a book which talked about the difference between the mind of Einstein and the mind of an ordinary person, and they couldn't figure it out. This female scientist did an experiment where some rats had just basic necessities, but other rats were given opportunities of different types of exercises, the different aspects that they were able to play with, whilst these other rats were not given such an opportunity. After examining the brains, she found that the brains of the rats that had many experiences, many things to play around with, had developed more neural pathways than those that did not have the same opportunities. And it's been concluded that the person with a high school education and the person with a university degree, their brains are wired totally differently. And when your brain is wired, many neural pathways, you develop critical thinking. It's very easy to understand. Maybe that's why there are no breakaways from Jehovah's Witnesses, as there are in other denominations of the Christian faith. If you've enjoyed and derived benefit from this video, don't forget to subscribe, to like, and comment. If you don't agree with what I've said, you are also equally free to comment and put your comments in the section below. Now, for more details about Jehovah's Witnesses doctrine, click on the playlist here.